What's going on, guys? Travis with the REC Garage, and today is going to be a little different of a video. I really don't have too much going on. I'm waiting for a couple things, so we're going to mess around with the 46 top bows or top irons. So this is the side that was taken apart, media blasted and etch primed. So took the other one down, and I am about to take that apart because I want to get this one blasted and etch primed so it'll look like this one, so when I paint them they'll look very nice. So I'm going to take a lot of pictures, maybe record a bunch of stuff, just because it's kind of complicated. There's a lot of little arms and stuff that move, a lot of little pivots. So when I take these apart, I think I'm going to put the hardware together into this one, just so I don't forget how it goes together. And I do have boxes and boxes of screws. I'm going to try to go through them and find the hardware that I think I'm missing for this guy, because this has nothing other than the rivets. These are actually rivets. The chrome pieces, they're going to, not be chrome anymore, but yeah, like this one here, they're rivets. Like this guy, this got blasted, and so now it's just a plain old, I don't even know, plain old iron. So it's probably going to stay that way. Don't care too much about that. And I don't think you see it. Do you see it? You only see it when you're in the car. So yeah, I could care less. Because you don't see it from outside of the car. Yeah, guess enough blabbing about this stuff. And kind of dragging on doing nothing, so let's actually do something. I'm going to start taking these apart because I want to get this done early so I can get some other things done. So start taking this apart. right, so this is the good one that's been blasted, yada yada. So I put it back together with the old hardware from the other side. There is a guy called Totally Stainless in Pennsylvania that makes a hardware kit for these top irons. They are not cheap, but he makes them out of stainless, which is nice. I'm still gonna put that there. And this is the old stuff that's going to the blasters. So really all I got to do is separate this piece and take the rubber channel and the hardware off of it, which shouldn't take too long. Then I got to bring my, what other piece am I bringing? Bring in this piece that goes here. There's the latch and stuff that goes here, the panel for the latch. I have to get that blasted because it looks like it's been sitting in the dirt for 20-30 years, so I need to get that done. As you see from the glare, I got a chrome radiator shroud. Also put the radiator in. I got that in. I didn't show that. I don't know why. Maybe I was too excited. I hooked up an electric fan that I had on another radiator. You can't see it because of the shred. Oh, you might be able to see it in here. This is, 14-inch, I think. I was gonna buy one, but I'm like, I got one. It's just an electric fan. I really don't care. So that's all set. I just need to wire it. I got an overflow tank, just a universal one from AutoZone. Plumb that. Tied it up right here. Nice. So in case anything bubbles over, goes into the tank. Yeah. Pretty much everything's set here. I did take it for a drive the other day, but it's still way too low. I was scraping in the center of the road. You know how roads are like, roads have an arc to them like that, down the center. So the rainwater goes to each side, and I like just moving over because cars parked, I was scraping the center of the road. So it's too low, but I do have spring perches, adjustable ones from Speedway coming for the springs. It gives me 2.5 inches of adjustment. I'm probably just going to spin them all the way up, see how it sits, and then adjust from there. To get a floor mat also, so it looks nicer in here. Ties that all together. Got a bunch of seals and stuff from a local guy, Joe's Antique Auto. If you're in New England, order from him. He's cheaper and he has Dennis Carpenter stuff. He's got, good stuff. So, and he's cheaper than most. So go to Joe's Antique Auto. Yeah, got a bunch of stuff for it. I got a bunch of seals for the top, seals for the windows. I got a trunk mat. The upholstery for the top is in. I don't know if I said that. I have it. So once I get these top irons situated, new hardware in there, I will send it out for the top to get upholstered. And then really it's like, put the windshield, put the glass in it. I do have a guy that has the window regulators and the front windows and frames that I'm buying from him. So it'll have all the windows and they'll all crank up and down. I have handles, just need to extend the shaft because convertibles, for some reason, the square shaft that connects to the latch mechanism in here is a lot longer than the coupes and everything like that. So, and obviously convertible ones, they don't make them and it's hard to find, so I'm just going to extend the shaft a bit on a coupe handle, and that'll solve that. And yeah, there's not much left to do to get this like just cruising roadworthy. It's not going to be like fully painted right now, but there's not much to do to put this car together. So this is going to help. Let me take that stuff apart, run to the blasters, get those dropped off. Maybe I'll have those by the end of the week. And yeah, start going on some other random stuff. Waiting for hinge parts on the Vicky, waiting for the chassis on the 36. Yeah, it's not too bad. Though that should be in within like the next few days, and the chassis should be done by the end of the week. So it's really, I'm not waiting too much here. headed to the blasters now to get a bunch of the 46 stuff taken care of. Top irons, that latch piece I talked about. What else? Threw the garnish molding around the windshield on the inside. Took that, and I have that blasted. I think that's it. There was just a bunch of pieces to the top iron, so I brought all those. So that's going to be nice. I'll get those back, hit them in self-etch, and then probably paint them black. But the black I have, it took... I painted my... Of course, when you try to put a seatbelt on, it locks. Shouldn't be doing this while driving anyway, but just on my road. I painted the inner fender wells on the front of the 46 and that black paint I have. It's just a Rust-Oleum black. But it literally took 3-4 days to dry. It was ridiculous. And it was nice and sunny. It was in the sun all those days. And it still took forever to dry. So probably not going to use that paint. Or I might try it on one piece and see how it dries. Piece that's not really important. But I don't know if it was just that can or what, but that was a mess. Alright, so everything's at the blasters. I don't know if I told you that. And I called a place called Totally Stainless, and I've researched and found that they're the only ones who make a hardware kit for the top irons of convertibles, like the eccentric bolts and all the shouldered bolts that go in the top irons to connect everything together. They're the only place that makes them. Like off the shelf, you can order them. And apparently it's not off the shelf, because I called and they said it's I think 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 month lead time. So safe to say I'm gonna have to make those bolts or have a friend make them. It's just, that's crazy. Months? I can see 8 to 10 weeks. Yeah, you're kind of busy. 8 to 10 months? Or 6 to 8 months? Geez, she had me speechless. I was on the phone. I was trying to be as nice as I could. I was like, okay. What? Because it's like, I explained to her this, like, I want the car done quickly. I want to have a top on it for, like, this fall. And, like, 8 months. That's insane. And like, I'm either gonna have to wait 8 months or like have a friend make them, because like they're the only person. I can't like go to Max, I can't go to CW Moss, I can't go to Dennis Carpenter and just buy a bolt kit for it. For some reason they just don't make them. And it's like, okay, well, glad I know some machinist friends that I drew up. I'll actually show you, and this might help you if you're in the same predicament. So you can take a screenshot if you're on your phone. This is one of the bolts. This is just the non-eccentric shoulder bolts, the 4 of them on each side that go on the irons. These are the eccentric bolts, 4 a piece on each side that go for the top irons. And this is 1 on each side. It's towards the bottom where it bolts into the body. And another one here. So if you want to take screenshots, if you need those, they're there for you. Because honestly, waiting even 6 months, even half a year for somebody to make hardware is crazy. Like, I have a long lead time to get into the garage for people to get work done on their car. But that's not making hardware. That's not making a handful of hardware. Like, how big? Like, I don't understand how they're that busy. So, if you have a machine shop, if you got a Swiss lathe, that's probably the best bet. If you have a Swiss lathe, you know, start making stainless bolts for automobiles, because apparently that Totally Stainless company has the market cornered, and everyone just goes to them. So I'd start a stainless hardware making kit if I wasn't doing this. Jeez. So this video is pretty much going nowhere. It's it's very boring, and there's been nothing going on because I'm waiting for things. Waiting for a chassis, waiting for hardware for the Vicky, waiting on spring spacers from a 46 so I can test it, drive it down the road. Yeah, just kind of waiting on stuff. So I think it's time we can quickly maybe pull this louver press out and try and punch a louver or two and see if the thing actually works. I know it works, but I see if it's like set up right now so it can actually just punch a louver, or if I have to like adjust things. So let's dig it out. All right, so it's low. It's a low working height, which kind of sucks. It's really low, and I don't really see a center line. I might have to adjust these a little bit. Alright, I put a little bit of space on the back. Maybe it's enough to shear it without being too close. Not totally sure. Let me just try it, I guess. Whew. Almost hit my face on it. Okay, first thing, I'm just gonna put something in here. Not even gonna care. And try and louver. Alright, that didn't work. I think we're not close enough. It's not shearing it, so let's try and adjust this here. Alright, we'll see what that looks like. Try and do the same spot, maybe help it out. That didn't work. Okay, try again. Let's see, I wonder why. Tighter maybe? Okay, that didn't work. Well, this is tricky. Why is it not working? Should shear that thing right in, huh? Why not? Okay, there's something going on here. I don't know what. Good thing I'm using a piece of scrap. This isn't doing jack shit. Okay. Why? That's $1 million question. Seems like a sharp edge. Sharp enough to cut. Alright, I gotta diagnose this thing and sit back and think about it, because I honestly have no idea what's going on here. Thought this was easier. Thought this just ka-chunked and made louvers. Fun stuff, you know? When you buy something and it's like, oh, well, I didn't buy it. So that's probably why it doesn't work. But, jeez, I gotta figure this out. This did work. This guy was a traveling louver man. There's gonna be like a secret sweet spot that just ka-chunks. It wants to. It wants to ka-chunk. Why is it not ka-chunking, you know? That's not how you do it. Come on. This is annoying. Now I'm getting upset. Okay. This ain't gonna work, but let me try it. Hey! And maybe it does. Haha! I got it to work. Okay. Damn, it's gonna be really freaking close. Well, that's cool. Might have to adjust it a little more. Okay. try this out again. See if we can ka-chunk, 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 dude. This is what I'm talking about with ka-chunks, dude. And I gotta start in the middle of the panel. This is gonna be freestyle, okay? Freestyle louvering. Don't try this at home. Yes! Really? Of course, it's not working now. Okay. Probably because it's not tight anymore. Yeah, it loosened up. Okay. Now it's stuck. Alright, I got it to work like 3 times. Now, of course, it's not working. It's not even coming back up. Fine tuning. This thing is gonna need some fine tuning. Do it again, the same spot. Okay, well, okay, I don't have it working again. Okay, I got 2 louvers out of this thing. 2! Nope. Goose egg. All right, so I solved, come on. This thing gets stuck. All right, this handle is too big for my garage. Yeah, it hits the ceiling when it's not even all the way up. So, gonna take it off. And I'm not gonna shorten it because I just did louvers, and wow, you need the whole thing. You need all 20 feet of that pole once it's on there to louver. I might grease up a bunch of things because I don't think this has been greased in a long time. But I figured out why I couldn't get it louvered the first time. I had the die backwards. This, as you can tell, it really doesn't make too much of a difference either side. This is just kind of the spacing on the louver. If you want a tighter space or a wider space, that's what you use there, because the inside here, they're both just as sharp on each side, or I should say just as dull. But this was faced the other way, and I was wondering, because on that side I was facing out at first, it had no center mark on it, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? Like that a louver die doesn't have a center mark on it, but it's right there. You can see there's a center mark. So now I turned it around, and the way that the curve on the louver die is that when it goes down now, this shaft tweaks like this instead of the other way. And when it was tweaking the other way, it was getting too crooked, and it wasn't punching properly. The cutting edge was going, I think, okay, it's hard to explain. I don't know. It wasn't allowing it to punch louvers properly. I had to have it like just right or just wrong. I don't know. I think because I had it overlapping here, and it would kind of tweak and fall in, and that would cut it. But now it's just kind of perfectly lined up, and it just cuts it. So I think I just had the die the wrong way, and I didn't put the die in. That was the way it was. So I'm not sure if someone just slapped the die in there just to kind of have one not in this box, because I don't think this box holds all of them. Because I have that one, I have this tiny one, and I also got this large one, whole long one. They're all kind of the same depth, but this is the finished product from the louver press. It does a pretty nice job. I want to get different profiles from Tuck Industries and see if I can adapt them to work on this. Maybe borrow a friend's if somebody has one. Let me borrow it and see if I can adapt it to work like bolt a plate to it that will bolt to this, the stuff I have here. If not, you know, is what it is. I'll just use what I have and maybe make different ones myself, because I think that's what all he did was make these. So, came out all right. Testing was aggravating, as you saw. I think out of all these, I got 2 there, 2 there, and 1 there. Oh, 2 over there too. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, 12 or 13 failed attempts, and it was almost an adjustment for every one of those times. So I was kind of scratching my head, and then I flipped them around, and with knowing how to adjust it from previously having it backwards, first try. So that's nice. Since I'm making the video on these louvers, I should kind of do the other ones too, because I have this one, obviously the one that we just used, and the other ones. And I set up the tiny one and set up some louvers. So small little guy, but it makes, I think, a nice size louver for a lot of different things. I like the shape of it. The other ones obviously are fine. These are more for like a trunk lid, and this can be for something smaller, obviously, because they're smaller, or I don't know really, but I just like the shape. It's nice and small, compact, you know. But those are those 2. I've still yet to set this one up correctly. Yeah, maybe it's so long that I can't get the leverage to cut a louver with it, but I kind of think that's not correct either. Maybe I just don't know what I'm doing. But I did set this big one up, and I tried to cut a louver, and it just didn't work. It was one of these. It was this back one here. It didn't cut it. It just made an impression. I don't know if you can see. And then I put the tiny one in, and it cut it. But yeah, this was definitely, obviously, a test panel. Look at those. Whew. But that's why you do test panels. So you can do something like this. Just knock this out. Still have yet to know what the heck I want to louver. I've had ideas. My 36 that's outside, the 5 window, as you guys know, the deck lid is just the skin, so I might louver that just for practice, you know. I think we should put the big one back in and try and see if we can cut something with it. Alrighty, so I got that to cut a louver. It worked. It's a little odd looking, so I just have a template here. It's kind of with a centerline scribe on it. I'm gonna punch a few louvers in it, but I don't think this larger one's gonna be my favorite because it's deeper than these two, but it's still the same depth this way. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of straight up. So I might have to make another another lower die that's wider, so it'll be more of a gradual looking step. But let's cut these out and you'll see what I'm talking about. So we're running into the die essentially. I think that's probably what this is for. It's exactly what that's for. Okay, that cutout on this side of the die is for this large die when it gets punched. So there's room. Because right now on this side, it hits the machine. So I need to move it over. See if that works. I hope it does, but I really have doubts. There's some, oh come on, really? Still no room. See how that hits right there? Maybe these have a bigger spacing. Hold on. I'll put you back on the stand. I'm going to try something else here. That seems too big. That's too much spacing. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. It's also a lot to grind out of this thing. Maybe I'll just do that for now. I'll do it with the large spacing, like you see here. Kind of put the louver on the total outside of the, not just the lower die, the outside of the plate here. But it's giving me room to louver, but it's a lot of excess space in between louvers, which I don't think I like, but I haven't done it yet also, so we'll see. Let's punch these out. This is also just a test. Might modify the machine later to work, but for now, let's just try it like this. I don't even know if this is going to work because I messed with it. Alright, still did. Well, I don't know. It's not terrible. Maybe it's the way it is. There's this. Go back to here. Now it's not working. Why is it not working now? Should I hit it with my purse? That might be the problem. I think it still needs some adjustment, but right now this is all I got. Okay, so this is the other style. As you can see from the side, they're pretty much straight up. Kind of cool, but I don't know. I think I'd like more body to them, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I guess that spacing is fine though. That's probably what I should work with. A little closer might be too much, and I think we might run into the same issue that we ran into back here. Well, maybe not, because this one punched out just fine. I think the issue that the end was curling into the die because there wasn't much material was because these dies don't have a spring-loaded foot that steps on the material before the die comes down to punch it. I think that helps the deformation and the curling in of material to the lower die. But it works. Alright, so here's all three side by side. Get the tiny one, medium sized, with two different spacings. This is the one I did. I did this one backwards, and then I had to flip the dies, and then I continued. So that spacing is a little different down here, don't worry about that. And then this larger size here. I do have a little issue there when someone put the center mark in. They hit it a little too hard because they put it in with like a chisel, the center mark, and there's a nub that digs into the metal, so I need to file that off. But overall, not sure which ones I like the best. Kind of just different applications, you know. These big ones are cool. Just not sure. Oh no, that would look pretty rad. These medium ones. These are the ones you would normally see on it this size. What about a bunch of little tiny ones? That'd be kind of cool too. Huh. That deck lid is not getting louvered, but it's fun to dream. So hopefully I can do some more louvers soon on some panels. Yeah, now that I'm confident in this and I can get it to punch a louver without messing up the panel. Because if that happened while I was louvering a hood, oh man, I'd be in trouble. I'd be in big trouble. So, good thing I use scrap instead of making a piece and saying, hey, I have a louver press, let me make louvers in this panel I just made. That would have been a waste of a panel, but I think it's alright. Overall, this thing is pretty cool. I think I want to try and bring it to the shows that I go. I'm planning on having a tent and a table and stuff at all the shows I go to from now on. Maybe bringing this, having a good time, letting people use it, punching stuff, punching louvers and things. Need stronger springs here. But that's it for this one. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, clicking the bell, sharing the videos. I appreciate it. My son's calling me. I gotta go.